everyone, I'm Jamie Agostino, and welcome to Financial Minds Meet the Experts. On this show, we're joined by financial industry experts to talk about topics, trends, and themes that credit union professionals need to know about. Today on Financial Minds Meet the Experts, we are finishing our 4-week series dedicated to security and risk. Today, we are joined by Mike Bechtel, Information Security Analyst for Vizzo Financial. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today. You are my first returning guest. So thank you. This is Mike's second appearance on the podcast, so really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So I know you shared some information about yourself before, but do you have any new information you could share with our listeners about yourself and your love of British culture?
Oh, geez, yes. I have been accused more than once of being an Anglophile. I think the comment around the office that I use is, "I'm not English, but my sister is." She's lived there for, oh goodness, going on 20 years now. So
Wow.
she has developed the mannerisms and the speech, but she doesn't have the accent. So it's kind of like listening to someone from the BBC read the news when I talk to her. It's very, very odd.
Oh, all right. Well, today we're going to talk about email security. I mean,
Oh, that little thing.
Mike, why is email such a popular target for these bad actors?
Well, I mean, in anything you're going to do, if you want to, well, I mean, even in your role in marketing, if you're going to market to someone or someone's, you want to market to the biggest group, right?
Yeah.
Bad actors are the same way. If they're going to pick a target, they want the biggest target they can go after. Don't try to find something teeny way in the distance. Shoot for the barn that's 5 feet away from you. So that's kind of where email comes from. Is it's been around forever. Everybody has it, and I mean, heck, nowadays most of us have more than one. I can think of two different personal accounts that I use, plus the one that I've got for the corporate. They're everywhere. You can't walk through the hall without tripping over somebody's email address. And also from a logistical perspective, what company can really function without having it? We all have to have a way to communicate with our members and our customers, and even each other, especially nowadays. I mean, most of us don't work in the office anymore, so we can't walk down the hall and go, "Hey, what do you want to do for lunch today?" No, it's send an email. "Hey, I'm going out for lunch. Who's coming?" So we've all got it. So if you want to pick something that's going to impact the most number of people, pick that. Um, you can also bear in things in mind like, oh goodness, well, no, yeah, it's integral to daily operations. Everybody's got it. Yeah, if you're going after something, go after something big.
It's a way of life. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. We all use it. So,
absolutely.
all right. So there's a bunch of different types. We've got phishing, spear phishing, whaling.
Mhm.
What is the difference between these?
Size and number of targets. I mean, if weirdly enough, the term phishing is it's yes, it's not spelled like what the Mariners do, but that's kind of where it comes from. Um, think of it in terms of I'm going to go out and fish a bunch of people. If I'm going to actually fish, I'm going to use a giant net. Bigger the net, the more things I'm going to catch. But when I just haphazardly chuck this net into the water, not taking any care as to where I'm physically located, I have no real control over what I'm going to capture. I just know if the net's going out here in front of me, I'm going to get something. So it's often the least amount of effort for the bad guys for the, we'll say, the biggest return, but the biggest return only comes because of volume. So they might get a teeny bit of information off of a teeny bit of the people they fish, but because they're doing it in hundreds of thousands, it adds up to something that's valuable to them. When we try to transition from that, excuse me, when we transition from that to spearfishing, you think about it in literal term, spearfishing, much smaller object that you're working with, so it's a much smaller target you're going to have to go after, but the odds of hitting the exact thing you want go up. And conversely, it's the same thing. They will spend considerably more time crafting the message, doing background research on the target that they're going after. And the targets they go after in a spear phishing campaign tend to be a more valuable target, someone that has more useful information to them. Whereas if you fished an entire company and the only person who fell for anything happened to be the janitor, what are you going to get? Might not even been the thing you were after. But if you spearphished the IT department, it's because there's something they have that you want. Um, if you continue that thought into the whaling, whaling is also a very targeted attack, but it's a targeted attack against the most valuable of targets. It's the golden goose, if you wish. Um, the whale would be your CEO, your CFO. If you whaled in IT, you would want um, the IT director, somebody who has the highest level of access to the most sensitive information possible. Um, and again, as the number of targets shrink, the amount of time spent goes up exponentially by the bad actors because time to them is money. Much like you and I, when we do our professions, we want to put effort into what we do to get a good result. They're working at it the exact same way.
All right, thank you. So you said it, we use email every single day. We're getting inundated with email. My inbox will be 100 probably by the time I'm done recording this podcast. So what specifically should a credit union staff member look for in an email that would let them know that it's malicious or not?
Hmm. Um, that's tough. Um, think about it. Think about email the same way you would harken back to when we were children. The board game Clue, you kind of turned into an investigator. You were a Sherlock Holmesian character that had to solve a riddle. Email's kind of the same way because some of them that come in will follow a pattern, and that pattern is, oh, hey, there's this person that works in my company, and we chat all day long through email. You'll recognize who that person is because you know who they are when their name appears. But beyond that, you know the mannerisms that they use in their messaging. You know if they like to sprinkle a lot of $2 words into their messages or whether they speak more plainly. They have catchphrases that they might use, or they sign off their email the exact same way, or a lack of sign off in the emails. That pattern. Bad actors don't know the pattern to the messages that you're getting back and forth all day long. So when you talk with your members, when you talk with your customers, even when you talk with your vendors, all of it's going to follow a pattern. They often communicate to you from the same email. They communicate to you during the same period of time during the day. Getting an email at 3 in the morning, unless it's an emergency, who's really sending you email at 3 in the morning? So look at who sent it to you, when they sent it to you, and things like the subject line and the body of the message will begin to describe the why they're sending a message to you. It's tough for me to give you a specific instance because every communication, like Jamie, when you and I send emails back and forth, there's a pattern to it. But when I'm emailing back and forth with my supervisor, the pattern changes. But the pattern with that person is the same every time they communicate. It's the same thing when we communications outside of it. So pay attention to the pattern. Even the slightest little thing might be, everyone will tell you, look for misspelled words. Well, that's easy. But if you get an email from me, you'll get misspelled words because I'm terrible at it. What time of day did they send it to you? What are they talking about? If you were to get an email from if David, our CEO, sends us a message and wants one of the two of us to wire something, automatically red flag should go off because David knows neither one of us works in the wire department. So that breaking of the pattern, giant red flag. As soon as you see one red flag, stop and dig through it. There's got to be more. I mean, yes, it might just be me misspelling something, but take the time and check the message because the signs will all be there. The goal of the person who's sending you that fish message is hoping that you read it so fast you don't notice any of them.
Okay. So if email is the main communication channel, used in business,
Mhm.
bad actors are becoming more sophisticated in targeting their emails. How can credit unions be prepared to combat these attacks?
I mean, test your staff. Have someone pretend to be a bad actor. Start throwing examples at them that they don't see coming to kind of, well, we'll go back to fishing, to test the waters. Um, there are services that you can sign up for. Even if you want to go with a low cost option, um, make yourself a Gmail account at home, call it whatever you want, and just send them a goofy message that asks them for, well, this time, well, it's kind of late into tax season, but this kind of time of year is tax season. Send them a message asking them about their W 2s. See how many of them actually stop and pay attention to the fact that it came from a Gmail address as opposed to coming from your credit union's HR or payroll area. Test how they're going to react to those situations. Because if they're not, you can talk to them about it and you can go, I love doing security awareness training. It's a great low cost option to prepare people for what's out there. But until you've actually put them in the situation, you don't know how they're going to respond. Even they don't know how they're going to respond. Throw a couple options at them, see what happens, see what they catch and what they don't. Reward them for the stuff that they catch, but don't berate them for the stuff that they miss. You have to walk a fine line between the carrot and the stick. I'm a big fan of carrot and less stick. And do bear in mind that at some point, if you've got someone who cannot get past any of your tests, they are a very big risk to the credit union. But work with them, find out what's the piece of the puzzle they're missing, what's the tool that they need to help them understand what it is they're getting into. But send test messages at them. We test the corporate all the time. It becomes a game. Who can we get? How many can we get? How creative an idea can we throw at them that they, oh goodness, what was it a couple of years ago? We did a Starbucks offer, a fake Starbucks card to anybody who clicked on a link, and we sent it out around Christmas time, and it had holiday themes all over it. I mean, there were people who had passed every test we'd thrown at them for years and fell down on that one because they were Starbucks junkies. You won't know what the weaknesses of your staff members until you test them.
I remember that one. And the first thing I went, Starbucks is not connected to my work account.
Nope.
That was my first thing. I'm like, that's not for me.
You bring up an incredibly good point. That's why I know some people get it, some people don't, but the whole idea behind, don't attach your business account to those sorts of things, and you'll come to that exact conclusion. Why is Sheets sending me an offer for a free sandwich at work? My Sheets account isn't attached to my work account. Make that separation.
That's one of the times where I wanted to reply to you guys and say, nice try. All right. So unfortunately, accidents do happen.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say an employee accidentally clicks on the link that was malicious. What should their very next step be?
Own it. Own the fact that you made a mistake. Don't cover it up. Don't hope nobody notices it. Don't try to hide it. If it's a non-event, all the better. But someone needs to look at it, whether it be your managed service provider, your IT team. Someone has to look at the computer and know definitively we're safe. But if nobody gets that opportunity to check, there could actually be something bad going on, and you and whomever else is on the network will have no idea until it's likely too late. Will there be repercussions for it? Probably. But, think back to when we were children and we did something we weren't supposed to do. If we told our parents we did it, we got in a little bit of trouble. But if they found out about it after the fact, we got in a whole bunch. It's the exact same thing. Have part of security awareness training that staff of the credit unions receive should have something to do with situations like this. Give your staff an instruction manual. Hey, if I click on somebody, who do I call? What am I supposed to tell them? If I call and don't get an answer, who do I email? Like, what's the process? Tell them what. It doesn't have to be a long, convoluted thing. It should be something simplistic. There should be a single email address to go to. There should be a single phone number to call. Options should be very limited. And then the people that get the information, there should be a process in there that says, here are the steps we're going to take, and then here's who we report to. Because if it's the MSP who's going to do it, once the MSP has cleaned or not cleaned the machine, they need to let management, the credit union, know you're good, or you're bad. Um, Another universal fact: stay calm. I mean, no matter what pops up on your screen, stay calm. The more agitated you get, the less likely you're going to remember what's happening, and the harder it'll be for you to follow those standard security protocols that get put in place. Stay calm. It's just a click. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I have been hearing that a lot, during this series, education, training, standard procedures,
But
and make sure your staff know what those procedures are. So thank you. Any final advice for credit unions about email safety?
it's there's no way to put in like a foolproof solution. I mean, let's think about it. It's not realistic to say we're going to turn email off. So we're always going to have email until a better mousetrap comes along. We've got it. Don't be so afraid of your email you don't want to use it. There is a there's a comfortable zone to live in between, you know, terrified to touch my inbox and wildly flying through it and not paying attention. Somewhere in the middle is the comfortable place to live. Um, get comfortable with it. Talk to the people that are around you. When you're in the credit union, if you get an odd message in your inbox, talk to the people next to you. Hey, something doesn't look right here. The more conversation you have about that, the more you talk about it as staff, the more comfortable you're going to get with what those kind of what the schemes are. In my presentations, I always make a comment about the what is it, the Nigerian prince email scam, and how we all giggle about it now because we can all identify. Well, the reason we can all identify it is everyone talks about it. The more we talk about these scams, the more we learn about them. The more we learn about them, the more comfortable we get with it, and the more that all these other scams become like the Nigerian prince scam. And your inbox in the morning, instead of being, bewildering and overwhelming when you open it, can be a source of entertainment as you giggle at all the spam messages that you're deleting because you know they're scam messages.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, marketing, we get a lot of emails. We have some general email addresses that we use that are for the corporate as a whole. So when we get things in, I always ask the team, I'm like, when you forward it to security, make sure you copy the rest of the team. That way we all see it, that,
Yes.
it's already been identified. It's suspicious. We're sending it to security. They're going to check it out. Don't click anything,
Yes.
kind of thing. And we do that with the corporate account managers as well. Like, just make sure others know, because some people might be really good at identifying it and others on the team might not be. Work
Well,
together to do it.
yeah. Play to those when you've got a staff member who's good at that. Play to those strengths.
Yeah.
You're right, 100%. The more people know what's going on, the better this process goes.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk with
Mhm.
us about email safety. I also need to say thank you to Viso Financial's Risk Management Conference. They sponsored this entire series on risk and security. So thank you to the conference for that. The conference is starting here April 6th through the 8th at the
Yep,
Hotel Hershey,
I'll be
Hershey
there.
PA. Yeah, Mike will be there. I will be there hosting the event as well, along with a lot of our other risk team members. So if you haven't registered yet, please do so. There's just a little bit of time left. For more details, visit our website at www.vfccu.org. Thank you again, and I hope everyone has a great day.
See you, everyone.